them is
It's
From Chicago.
I'm from
They said I talked really fast, didn't understand half the time, yeah.
Were they scared?
I don't think so, but probably looking back now a little bit, yeah.
Why is everybody in a couple? Like
They're really fast, like, so they want to get from point A kind of to point B. It's a cultural thing.
And if you don't mind me asking, like, do you own a gun?
No, I do not. I do not own a gun.
Don't push or punch anyone. Korea, probably he will call police and you will have a lot of troubles.
Before coming to Korea, here's what you need to know. Where you from?
I'm from London.
from India.
I'm from Chicago.
I am from Washington State in the United States.
My name's Ryan, and I'm from the Bay Area in California.
My name is Jeremy Butler, and I'm from America.
I'm from the U.S.
Partly from Russia.
What are things to know before coming to Korea?
I have 3 things in mind. One of them is that there's no trash cans. You will struggle. You'll have to probably walk a kilometer to find one. The second one is if you're a smoker, babe, you are not able to walk with the streets. In London, you can have a little cheeky coffee and have a little cigarette in your hands, but unfortunately in Korea, you can't do that. You have to go to alleyways and just look on the floor if there's cigarettes and just smoke there. Third one is I love Korea. 대한민국, cha. Like, I love Korea, but unfortunately, there are going to be a few bad apples. And one of my experiences was that I took a taxi one time and he accepted it. And he came and he was like, 흑인을 받지 않습니다, 갑자기. And I was like, huh? 이건 인종차별이죠. 근데, like, there's always going to be people that are racist, but there's only a few that I've encountered here. Most of them have been very, very accepting.
As a foreigner, if you already have bad social anxiety and you come to Korea, it's gonna get worse. Everybody's gonna stare at you. All the old people, the ajushis, the ajumas, they're gonna wanna talk to you, ask you where you're from in their terrible, terrible English. But that's something you're gonna have to learn to live with.
1, get used to things being familiar but not so familiar. Like everything is like what you would expect from your home country, but also a little, different. So get used to different foods, different fashions, different trends. Something that every newcomer should be expecting is that it's always different in another country.
I guess some of the biggest things that I wish I knew is how the garbage can system works. That's very important, and how they categorize it. That's like one of the biggest things. If you don't know how to do it, they will come, they will find you. And I guess like also knowing like the biggest apps to use on like how to get around and like just that kind of like information, like Naver Maps, Kakao Maps. I wish I would have known earlier.
Research the banking system a lot, and depending on what visa you're coming on, really take the time to research what you need to do, because you think you're like, oh, like me, I winged it a little bit, and the amount of time I spent in confusion because of that, it really bit me hard, yeah.
Definitely the language. If I can be honest with you guys, so I don't know the Korean language. My reason for not knowing Korean is because I was an English teacher for the first 2 years. No, guys, that's an excuse. It just would make things more convenient, and it's easier for you to foster relationships. I meet a lot of Koreans, and they're like, oh, I really want to speak with you more, but and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I should really know Korean.
For myself, from the U.S., the beauty standard here is very strict and very different, and people's experiences of Korea is going to vary dramatically based on how well they're able to and willing to fit into that beauty standard.
Gangnam and Hondae is not the best place for finding a long-term relationships, because probably you will meet a fuckboy who will ghost you the next day. Also, always check your cup, because cases when some guys put drugs in your cup, like, not rare. Also, don't touch, don't push or punch anyone or slap or whatever, because in Europe you might, like, some man had no manner to you and you slapped his face, and it's okay. He will like, okay, I had no manner, I deserve that. But in Korea, probably he will call police and you will have a lot of troubles.
Traveling to a new country can be a lot daunting, and especially Seoul can be really crazy to navigate. As someone that's been living in Seoul for the past 7, almost 8 years now, I was able to create a guidebook that will help you navigate Seoul like a local. From navigating the complex Incheon airport into the city to also places that the locals go to dine, as well as places that you can shop. And with Korea slowly becoming the global hub for fashion, with brands like Gentle Monster and Adderall, you can't go wrong with shopping in South Korea. So if you'd love to travel to Seoul like a local and explore Seoul easily like never before, I'll have all the links to my guidebook down in the description below that like button. What's one surprising cultural difference that took you a while to get used to coming to Korea?
I'm just used to just going to the bathroom and throwing the toilet paper in the actual toilet. But some places you have to put it in the bin, and that's always grossed me out.
One thing that took me a while to get used to would be in a country where, as a foreigner, you are the foreigner, meaning any question that they have about something that happens in the U.S., they come to you for the answers because, well, they expect you to be the expert on it, even if you're clueless. But, it's just coming from your own perspective, so you can only give them, what you think.
In the States, you can easily find an interest that you're into and you can easily get into it. And here, it just takes a lot more effort.
If you live in Seoul, anything that's like an hour and a half's travel away is considered a day trip. I think in LA, living there, it's an hour and a half just to get to work for no reason. So whenever like, oh, let's go outside of the city today, go do something, they're like, wait, what? Like, we didn't plan anything. And like, oh, we'll just ride with it,
Why is that considered, like a day trip like in Korea?
I think the train systems are so good here. It's so easy and fast to go like 20, 30 minutes versus an hour and a half doesn't really give that far in your car, I think, even in the U.S.
What is one surprising cultural difference that took you a while to get used to in South Korea?
Wow, I think actually this is a positive one. Korea is just like very safe. I come from a relatively safe place back in the States, but still, I would take everything with me. I would never leave anything on the table, but Korea is so safe. I think there's been times where I've like accidentally left something. I'm like, oh my God, it's still there.
One of the most incredible things that I've run into is having conversations generally with women and having them tell me that their friends will comment openly on their weight. It just blows my mind every time. In the US, one of my female friends told me that her female friends were saying that she was getting fat or that she needed to work out more. I would tell her that she needed to get new friends. But here in Korea, that is just a thing that they have come to accept. If you're going to come here and you want to thrive in Korea and stay here for a long time, you have to be willing to accept that that is part of their culture. And if you fight against that, then you will not be able to fit in here.
The one that really troubles me that people who are older than you expect unconditional respect. You have to honor them. You have to listen to any bullshit they say. That's kind of Korean culture aspect that I really cannot get along with. I'm just like, well, you might be old, but if you an old fart, very bad manner person, I should not respect you just because you live longer time on this earth.
What's something about the daily life in South Korea you didn't expect?
In London, when I'm in the restaurant, I expect the waiter to come to me and I pay. Like, I'd be like, oh, can I pay? And then they'll bring the card machine. Here, you have to go to the counter. That's one thing that was a bit different.
The amount of hills I have to climb up, excuse me, why is there so much exercise in this country? Well, I guess that's why they're also skinny and fit, but come on, someone put up a disclaimer before coming here, seriously.
The transportation is very prompt. They get here on the dime, every second. So if you miss your bus, depending on how long it takes to wait, they will get here 5 minutes. They'll be here 4:59. Boom, they're right there. Rarely will you find any type of public transportation late.
What part of the Korean culture was totally different from what you expected?
How busy it is at 2 a.m. I can't just walk out in my PJs to grab food real quick because everybody's here. And that was one of the biggest things. I was like, wow, you guys aren't home? You guys are getting ready for school or going to bed or watching TV? You guys are out here partying even on the weeknights. Back home, restaurants be closed by the latest 10. I guess unless you go to a bar, you're not going to see a lot of people on the streets after 11:30 because it's so safe here. You can have things open until late at night without it being a safety concern.
I didn't expect to be become so comfortable and the convenience of everything. Here where we're at right now in Shinchan, I walk out my door, there's cafes, there's work study places, the subway system's right here. Back home, you get in your car, you go, like I said, a far distance to anywhere you need to go. It's an added extra 30 minutes or 40 minutes to everything. I can do so much more in the day here just because it's all in my area and everything I need to do is right within, a 20-minute distance.
The biggest thing that I didn't expect was to meet so many foreigners who were so friendly and helpful. I think that's been one of my favorite unexpected things.
I used to work as a DJ for 6 years in Gangnam. Though I had not that many boyfriends, but the image I presented, my outfit or something, people thought, oh, she's Russian, she might be approachable, and she came to me and asked how expensive I am. So Sorry, not on the sale. I wish people respect each other a bit more. Probably, no matter how hard you try, no matter how good you speak Korean, no matter how good you know the culture, there will be we and you. Even if you get the Korean passport, they will never see you as Korean. And also, the better you look in Korea, the better is your life. You should always take care of how you look, what you wear, what is your makeup, how you smell, what you speak, because it influences a lot on your life. The more beautiful you are, the easier you can get the job, you can get the help you need, just based on your look.
Are there any unspoken rules or etiquettes you wish you had known before coming to Korea?
I realized people don't help. I remember the other day I saw a girl literally vomiting by herself, and I was the only person that went up to her and said, "Are you okay?" And she still looked at me weirdly, like, "Why are you asking me that?" I think most Koreans would just like carry on with their daily life, which I don't think that's okay, but also I understand the caution that's there, but I've never understood that.
Unspoken rules. Yeah, don't be loud in the bus. I think it happens a lot of times when you're a foreigner here. The first few months, you're going to go crazy and party a little bit. So when you're coming back in the night bus, you might get loud. And again, you're going to get yelled at by the ajushis and the ajumas to shut up.
Like you've had a lot of experience with them.
Yeah, I think they don't like me very much.
A good unspoken etiquette is Korean language, all right? Like a lot of Koreans know English, but they're a little shy to practice their English. So it's best if you come to Korea knowing a few common terms so that it can make them at ease to speaking English with you, because they can tell that you're trying, and so they'll try towards you as well.
I kind of like study Korean culture as part of my major, and so I did have a lot more better understanding for it. But I guess for people who may not know, is I guess proper etiquette of like how to maybe like when you enter like a restaurant or something like that, maybe like a quick little greeting or like bowing, taking your shoes off before you enter certain places, and knowing a basic amount of Korean.
Are there like any unspoken rules or etiquettes in Korea that you wish you had known earlier before coming here?
Oh, there's plenty. Plenty I don't speak about or unspoken about, but if you're gonna go to a cafe, don't order the to-go cup and then stay in there. They get pretty mad at that. That was a hard learning curve at first for me. If you're gonna stay in there, get the stay cup, right?
I'm not sure if this would be like an unspoken rule. I think if I don't even, know a person, I'll still sometimes, like, if I like their style, or I'll say hi or hello to them. I'll greet them. I like your pants. I like your shirt. And I think for the most part, they're pleased, but I think it just catches people off guard, especially Koreans, because they're like, why is this guy coming up, to speak with me? And actually, a few of my Korean friends, they went to visit America, and they told me one thing that they noticed is that Americans do like a lot of small talk, and that's something they're not used to. They're more so from getting to point A to point B. Let me see if I can use my Korean on you guys. Pali pali, is it pali pali? Pali pali, like, yeah, it's a pali pali culture. It's like they're really fast, like, so they want to get from point A kind of to point B. And it's a cultural thing.
The first thing that comes to mind is just a general conflict aversion that for me was kind of culture shocking and still is. In America, we're a lot more comfortable with confrontation, and we're a lot more open to kind of speaking our mind about something. If you don't like something, then you speak up and say it, or else people are going to assume that you're fine with it. And I think in Korea, it's much more important to make sure that you're asking that up front and that you're really, really pushing for an honest answer, because they won't necessarily tell you. They'll kind of just file it away and then not necessarily say anything to you.
That people expect you to follow unspoken rules. It's not legal stuff or something, but they expect you to act like Korean. I was born in another place. I have different cultural background, but they just like, oh, if you live in Korea, then you must act, you must behave like us. No, I just must follow the legal rules. But they say, no, if you don't want to follow our rules, like the unspoken rules, why are you staying? Maybe you should leave. And I haven't asked your opinion about that.
What's a part of the Korean culture that was completely different from what you expected?
Well, I think when you watch K-dramas and you have like such a dream perception of Korea, and when you come here, it's completely like, oh wait, this is not a K-drama. And it's not. People should know that it's not a K-drama. But I've met many people in my life here in Korea, which hasn't been a very long life, that think it's like a K-drama. And they're like, oh, that's a Korean oppa. Reality hits them. And that's good, because that is reality.
Oh, obviously you watch K-dramas and you think everyone's so well behaved here and they're so quiet and they're just really demure. But you see Koreans when they're smoking, they're just spitting on the street. All the people are yelling and screaming and just there's trash everywhere. Yeah, that's been kind of a difference. I did not expect that when I came here.
How much of their culture is derived from what they see on TV, you know, based in European culture, from the US culture? Like, they have their own style, but you can tell that it is, like, it's branched off from what they see on, from Western culture. Whether it's food or fashion, and put their own twist to it, and, you know, making it something totally different, something that you can vibe with, but you can also see familiarity with, you know, from where you came from.
Why is everybody in a couple? Like, what I want to know, like, how as hard it is to meet people, and everybody's like buddied up. I was like, how? I would love to know.
I think being from the U.S., we're very direct with like maybe what we're trying to convey and emotions and stuff here. I think I had to learn like a little bit different like style of communication in Korea. I think that was like less aggressive. I'm a very energetic person, and I think that can scare people sometimes. So I had to learn to like tone it down a little bit to get my point across.
How did you react?
They said I talked really fast, didn't understand half the time, yeah.
Were they scared?
I don't think so, but probably looking back now a little bit, yeah.
I came here blindly, actually. For the majority of my 20s, I've just traveled, what we would call the travel bug. I was actually living in another country. I remember not quite yet wanting to go back to America. I literally just Googled jobs for Americans abroad, and teaching English in Asia, specifically Korea, came up. I guess I didn't know what to expect. I just came here just saying, okay, God, I believe that, you know, you're calling me to this place. And, you know, I could have done more research, but I just said, I'm gonna try it out. And 4.5 years later, I'm still here.
I've lived abroad before, and the first time that I lived abroad, I had very high expectations, and it ruined my ability to enjoy the positive aspects of what I was experiencing. As humans, if we like set an expectation and then it's not met, we're so much more disappointed than if we had never set that expectation. So I think just being sure to moderate expectations and being open to new experiences and new ways of enjoying your life that you might not be familiar with from your home country is the best thing you can do to set yourself up for success.
Actually, my case is a bit complicated because I cannot really identify myself as a Russian or a person from any country. I have been living in Korea for 7 years, and I don't have expectations much. The less you expect, the less you get disappointed.
What's one advice you'd give to other people that would like to move out of Korea?
You shouldn't revolve your whole perception in Korea and just being K-pop and K-dramas. Like, it's a whole culture. Like, people live here. Like, that Korean man that's just crossing the street isn't like your oppa. Like, I think that's a very weird perception to have.
My one piece of advice for anybody planning to move to Korea or at least study here or work here, when you come to Korea, it's not like the K-dramas. Everybody's living their life just like anybody else in Europe, in the US. The ironic thing about it is they will ask you questions that they see on TV pertaining to Western culture, like, oh, if you're in the US, does everybody have a gun? Like, no, we don't. You know, so get used to, I guess, stereotypes a little bit, but, you know, it's all rooted in curiosity. Right. You know, so just be open to them and they'll be open to you.
And if you don't mind me asking, like, do you own a gun?
No, I do not. I do not own a gun.
There's so many different like subcultures, really amazing, cool like groups of people that you can meet here, whether it's artists, musicians that do not definitely get the light shown on them until you kind of get here and you arrive and you realize there's just so much to it. There's so many people that you're gonna meet here. Like here, like food is reasonably cheaper, I think, and a lot better quality, and like it's made by somebody's grandma most of the time, which always tastes amazing, you know, like knocks any 5-star Michelin chef out the roof in LA, I think, yeah.
If you're willing to stick it out and kind of continue to put in that effort to interact with and engage with and be part of the culture here, that you'll find that incredibly rewarding.
Learn Korean, speak Korean if you want to survive in Korea. And one point, if company starts to say you, we are family, run. Because family, no pay. Yeah.
Have you experienced something like that?
A lot. I wish I have never learned some like words in Korean language as like 접근금지. It's like when some person is prohibited to come to you for 100 meters. I know this because I had very bad cases. living it for 7 years in Korea. I have been through a lot.
And what is one advice to give to other people that would like to move out of Korea?
Just to be open. Though there might be a few similarities to your home country, but obviously there'll be many differences. And just if you feel like, hey, you want to try out Korea or living in any other country, I say try it. Of course, financially you have to think of that, but if you have the finances and if you feel led, try it. You can always leave, but you'll never know unless you try. You only have one life on this earth. And I say, just make the best of it. And so I say, come. Is it kaja, guys? I'm trying to learn this. Let's go, kaja. Let's go. And so, yeah.
Well, if you love to see more videos like this in the future, I'll love for you to hit that subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell. See you in the next video.